Fitch, the recruitment and headhunting people, have come out with a one-off special edition collectible employment report for April. Very pleased to be joined by the founder and the CEO, Trefor Fitch. Trefor Murphy. Good morning. Thanks for joining us.
I've been called worse things, Brandy. Good morning.
So we normally speak to you quarterly.
Yes.
When we're talking about hiring. Why this one-off April special?
I think we got quite a bit of feedback, because we grouped everything into a quarter. We had January, February very good, March was down, and we thought that maybe it's important that we look at April specifically and then present those numbers back to market.
Well, we would love every single company to do that for us. Headline number, how did April 2026 compare with April 2025?
Yeah, pretty decently. Surprisingly again, but pretty much flat on the same month for 2025. That represented a 13% increase, 13.5% increase on March. And March was a 12% drop on February's numbers.
Okay, we'll get into the month-on-month in a moment. But if we look at the year-on-year first, the Gulf is flat. I presume that's lower than what you were originally projecting.
100%, yeah. We would have seen, if we were looking at January and February and the trajectory from those 2 months, we were definitely looking at 4, 5, even 6% growth across the GCC. Higher in the UAE, probably around there for Saudi, and slightly less for the other GCC countries.
Okay, and we'll get into the breakdown in a moment. But flat is not down. Are you saying that we're not seeing job destruction?
Well, flat, same as April last year, is we're saying that the same amount of jobs were created in April this year that they were April of last year. Now, I mean, when we looked at the quarter one numbers, as I think I said when I came on at the quarter one report, we checked our numbers 3 or 4 times because it seemed just a little bit difficult to accept that we were still seeing some level of growth or even a flat position. That was probably buoyed up by very strong Jan-Feb and a weaker March. So we're saying that basically we've seen the same amount of jobs created in April this year than April 2025.
So that is job creation.
Yeah.
Where are we seeing jobs created?
It's a real mixed bag, and we kind of know where they're not being created, but everything else is really very much, certain organisations are pushing ahead. We have airlines being established, an airline being established. That is creating quite significant growth in that market. And then it's causing a huge amount of backfill with other airlines as they maybe potentially lose people to that new airline. So but other than that, there's very little happening on that side of the market.
Really interested to see that real estate hiring is leading.
Yes. I mean, real estate showed a 8% growth on this time last year. Now, so that's a month-to-month comparison. And one of the reasons that we don't really do month-to-month, because the size of the data pool is just a little bit smaller. So we just try and keep it on a quarterly basis because we have enough accumulated data. So having April increase on the same period last year is pretty phenomenal. Quarter one, quarter two, quarter three last year in real estate were all very, very strong quarters. It's just, it's a very strong number, probably buoyed up by a weaker March again. So that adds to the number in April. People are saying what we didn't do in March, we're going to do in April.
Okay, the largest decline, sales and marketing.
And it was one of the highest increases for quarter one. So did we as a market over hire a little bit, or did we just do our hiring, or predominantly our hiring for sales and marketing quarter one and then level out in the first month of quarter two?
So these are Gulf numbers that we are discussing. Mm-hmm. Give me an idea of what we have seen just in the UAE.
In the UAE, I would say if we're flat on the overall, I think for the first time in maybe 3 or 4 quarters, that's probably a little bit more leveraged as a number by Saudi's activity than the UAE's activity. I'd say we might have seen a slight drop, very slight drop in UAE, maybe 1-2%, Again, we didn't break down that number because the size of the data pool again. But maybe a slight drop in UAE, and Saudi had a strong April, as it did a strong quarter one as well.
Okay, so these numbers, we are talking about job creation. We are talking about positions that are being filled.
Yeah.
They're not net, are they? Because you're not counting anyone who's been made redundant in all of this.
Yeah, and sorry, it's not placed candidates. It's jobs created. Whether they get placed or not is again a slightly different matter. Yeah.
Okay, so what are you seeing in that? Anecdotally, if we move away from the actual numbers, the conversations that you're having within your team and within clients, are the jobs that are already open with you being filled? Are offer letters going out? Are offer letters being accepted? What does it look like on the ground?
So, thankfully for us, the kind of ratio of job to fill is still pretty much the same as it was previously. I think if we were taking the overall number of jobs created, and if we had access to the total number of jobs that were being made redundant or where people were being let go from their jobs, it would be a very, very different set of numbers. I have to, to be fair with that. So what that number looks like, it's really difficult to say. There's a number of sectors that we're not involved in that are heavily impacted by the current crisis.
Yeah, I mean, these are Cooper Fitch's numbers from their business. They're not any sort of national employment index.
No.
One of the things that you say in here that I also find really interesting is you say we are seeing slower approvals. What does the timeline look like at the moment compared to what it normally would?
So the amount of approvals are probably around the same. The timeline lag. So we're getting a lot of stop-start multiple times in a process. Normal time to fill or time to hire timelines are about 8 or 9 weeks in the UE. We're higher, I would say. Because we haven't entered in that full period yet, the feeling is that could be longer by a couple of weeks, or maybe even longer by up to 3 or 4 weeks, up to a month, to actually get a person placed and hired.
We have to leave it there this morning, unfortunately. Speaking of timelines, ours is up. Trefor Murphy is the founder and CEO of Cooper Fitch. Thank you very much for coming in and sharing what you're seeing in your numbers with us.
Yeah, thanks, Brandy.